Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Hartford's public comment held today, May 11th, 2020. This will be our second virtual public comment, and we will continue to refine this process with your feedback and suggestions. Please visit www.hartford.gov for important updates and City Council contact information. Those who signed up for public comment will be given 3 minutes to address the council, thus giving everyone an opportunity to speak. When I call your name, please state your full name and address. Then you may begin to speak. I ask that you respect the time given to each resident and do not interrupt. So with that being said, I am now going to call on caller number two. Caller number two, Leslie Hammond.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello.
I apologize for the delay. Leslie, you have the
That's
floor.
okay.
Please state your name and your address.
Leslie Hammond, 1 Linden Place, Hartford. Right now on the screen, all I can see is Shirley. So if John has the clock, I'm just going to keep talking until I guess Shirley waves her hand at me. Thank you, first of all, for doing this. I know it's a lot of work, and I know you've been going the extra mile, Mally, with David Grant's help, and I really appreciate it because, you know, there's a big learning curve. So it's really important that we keep trying to do this. A few things on the items I wanted to talk about. There's something with MDC, and to be honest, I didn't read the whole thing because it was like pages and pages. But I do remember a meeting back in January of 2019, and John Gale and you, Mally, and Will DeLeese might remember when DeBella gave a report. And at that time, they talked about that there's something, I think it's with DEEP, that has that the rates can't go up more than 2% of someone's income. But unfortunately, they use 8 towns to determine that median income. And I remember us all being really surprised at the time, and maybe it was the EPA that sets it, one of them does. But I was wondering what's happened since then, because obviously if we use West Hartford and Wethersfield and so forth, our income's going to be double or triple what it really is. Because I don't know about you all, but I hear constantly about people's water bills. And along that line, people, when they're late on their bills, they get liens, and sometimes there's a foreclosure. And then too, if they pay off the bill, to release the lien, they have to pay, I think it's $85 or something, but it's just one more thing that's really hard for our people. And like landlords that have a 3-family, I mean, a lot of those costs are going to get passed on to tenants, which I know none of you want. The second thing I want to talk about is David Jimenez. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Just taking a glance, it looks like he's a corporate lawyer, lives at Capewell. So I don't know if his kids have ever been in the Hartford schools. You know, when you Google him, he says West Simsbury, so I'm not sure what that's about. But personally, I would really like to see more parents on the Board of Ed with children. And I know the mayor basically likes more corporate lawyer types. So that's a real disconnect for me. And I don't know how you all feel about it, but I just think we can get somebody that really has a better pulse on our kids, since we all seem to want neighborhood schools. Lastly, I know there's been a lot of talk about the undocumented people, and I understand they don't get any federal money, which is pretty obscene, even though they pay taxes, many of them. So that's a big concern. And I just wondered if you analyzed all our citizens, like what's going on with people, who's getting unemployment. Some of them are getting more than they would if they were working. Some obviously get no income. I think between the food banks and possibly other means, maybe the work, you know, the unemployment benefits, you can find out a lot more. I tend to be an Excel spreadsheet person. I know there's an urgency to help people, but I think it's really on council to analyze more what's going on with our citizens. Obviously, we have to get them food and possibly do something about their rent. But I think it would be even better if you guys did a whole analysis and then took some leadership to try to get other people in the city to solve some of these problems. So I think I did okay. Oh, you just mentioned Park and Main, Mally, so you know my ears perked up about that one. So I'm hoping to hear more about that. Okay, thanks. I don't know if I was 3 minutes or not, but bye.
Bye. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for those comments. I am now calling on caller number 3. Caller number 3, Luis Reed, are you with us?
I am here. My name is Louis L. Reed. I'm the national organizer for Cut 50. My address is 493 Columbus Avenue in Stratford, Connecticut. I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be able to speak to you today about the resolution that is introduced by Councilman Clark's leadership. First and foremost, Cut 50 is a bipartisan criminal justice organization co-founded by CNN political commentator and now Reform Alliance CEO Van Jones. I'm here to testify in support of the SAFER Plan. The SAFER Plan is an acronym that would be an initiative to directly target people who are going to be released and or who are currently incarcerated. The SAFER Plan stands for Suspended Incarceration for Technical Violations, in addition to suspending probation office visits and payments of fines. The A is indicative or symbolic for adopting smart alternative to incarceration for supervision violations, adopting smart alternatives to in-person supervision conditions as well. And I'll forego the remaining of essentially outlining what the SAFER Plan is. Obviously, you guys probably have it in front of you. Essentially, here's what the issue is. In the state of Connecticut, there are 5 deaths that are currently on record as a result of people being incarcerated and being susceptible to COVID-19, particularly those individuals who are at the Willard Cybulski Institution. Considering that Cut 50 is a national organization and we partner with the city of Hartford under Councilman TJ Clark's leadership last year to make sure that through our relationship with Kim Kardashian, we made sure that the people who were going to be returning back to the city of Hartford had access to free Lyft rideshare credits. And so we want to make sure that we continue to make it the investment in the city of Hartford, and that Hartford makes the investment back into the returning citizens who are going to be redepositing back into those areas where they had previously bankrupted. We think symbolically we could get the Department of Corrections to adopt a version of the SAFER Plan. Now, through the National Governors Association, we have 25 states that have currently adopted some version of our plan. And that plan essentially means this: we want to identify people who are going to be scheduled for release within the next 6 to 12 months and make sure those individuals are out. Not only do we want to make sure those individuals are out, but we also want to make sure that those individuals have effective reentry plans. We want to make sure that those individuals have effective resources so that they can sustain and thrive within our community. And quite frankly, from a humanitarian point of view, we want to make sure that these individuals are not going to be in harm's way in terms of being affected by COVID-19. And I know that I'm at time, and I really do appreciate your this opportunity to be able to present before the council.
Thank you, Mr. Reed, and thank you for everything that you're doing on criminal justice reform.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And now we're calling on to caller number 5, Alyssa Peterson.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It is a bit disconcerting with the time delay. I sent you a document a few minutes ago. It's addressed specifically to the Working Families Party, but you're all copied on it. I've been giving a lot of thought to the structure of this council and how it could possibly work better going forward. And one of the things that occurred to me is that after charter reform, we're probably not going to have a Working Families Party. I think so many of the people that I speak to in the city want district representation. We want larger representation. And that would mean that two talented individuals on this council, might not, or their party might not see election in the future going forward. So I'm asking the Working Family Party in particular to try and look at issues that are more specific to Hartford. You do a great job of stacking your meetings with, your particular issue at the moment. But I'd like to see you do a better job of broadening your concerns about Hartford. And what's in front of you are some agenda items that I think you can work on specifically. Agenda item number 3, as Leslie Hammond said, was about the MDC's integration plan, I guess. That item should not have come back before council until you address the 2% rule. Councilwoman Bermudez was there, now Council President Rosado was there, Councilman Gale was there. You clearly heard that the MDC is charging more than the 2% of median household income to Hartford residents and landlords. So we are due a rebate, and if you don't want to take that issue on directly, I really wholeheartedly advocate that you seek outside counsel or partner with outside organizations before this item gets passed. The other item is agenda item number 8. I echo what Leslie Hammond said about Mr. Jimenez. This is, again, where Working Family Party can work with other council members and look for a better candidate. Mr. Jimenez is very well-degreed and well-experienced, but right now that's not what we need in Hartford. We need someone with a child in Hartford, or that had a child in the Hartford system, or that somebody that is really focused on neighborhood schools. That's our number one issue. CREC has become a behemoth. It's overtaken the Board of Ed. It was never meant to be the giant organization that it is. We're operating two very expensive administrative systems, the Board of Ed and CREC, and we need to see where we're going to split these two in the future, and how we can better attend to the neighborhood schools in Hartford before we completely lose them, and it'll be too late by the time we address it. Lastly, I'd like the Working Family Party to do a better job of working with the council and picking some people who better represent the common person on these very elite boards that the mayor has put together. I'm glad there's a response for the pandemic, but these boards need to have real people on them, people who need the services, clients, customers, family members, not just political party people or people with titles. I thank you so much for listening and hope you give all these items thought. And again, I sent them to you in an email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson, for your comments. It seems like we don't have any other callers on the line. I will unmute everyone. Are there any other callers on the line that wish to participate in public comment? Are there any other callers on the line that wish to participate in public comment? Okay.
I hear someone.
No, there's no one else on public comment. We will resume with our general council meeting at 7 p.m. You can watch the meeting by visiting www.hpa-tv.org, Facebook Live, channel 96 for Comcast Xfinity customers. Thank you. With no further business to do, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I will see you guys back at 7.